Hello, my dear Franken friends, and welcome to Spookyou, your one-stop shop for all things ghastly and ghoulish. I'm your host, Barnabas Vixen, and my, do we have a tasty assortment of tantalizing tales for you today. Handpicked by our very own Weavers of Woe. Guaranteed to send a chill down your spine, or your money back, so it's non-refundable. But enough teasing, because you're here for the stories, aren't you? Well, without further ado, allow me to pass the reins on over to our vivacious voiceover virtuoso, Trey Falco, for the first of tonight's spooky stories. And I'll be seeing you real soon. That is, if this doesn't spook your eyeballs out first.
A turkey leg dropped at the edge of my cell was an infrequent occurrence. And when I was old enough to keep count of the days and realize it only happened once a year, I assumed that day was Thanksgiving. And if my count was correct, that day was tomorrow. It wasn't long before I heard the distant lock open, followed by footsteps down a set of stairs. With the footsteps growing closer, he was soon standing outside of my cell. I feigned sleep as I waited for him to open the rusty lock. And after that distinct click, I waited a second or two more for him to enter. I hesitated for a moment, but then jumped up and lunged for the door. I clung to the cold metal bars and marveled at how easy it had been. I had tricked him. I had made it out. But just as soon as these thoughts entered my mind, had they all been erased. I felt his hands grab a thick knot of my long hair and jerk me back into the floor. And by the time I could look up, the door slammed shut with him on the other side. He turned to walk away, but not before dropping a turkey leg. 8 turkey legs later. It was the night before. Several scars were painful reminders of previously failed attempts over the years. But this time would be different. My captor was growing careless and I was growing stronger, even on my meager diet. And as I sharpened my collection of turkey leg bones against the cold concrete floor, I fantasized about tomorrow. I woke up anxious and excited, running my fingers through my poorly cut hair. When I heard the distant lock open, I began counting footsteps in my head, working up the nerve. Running out of steps and time, I had to act now. I sliced deep and hard, wincing at the sound of sharpened bones severing tendons and ligaments. When he reached my cell door, he gasped and stood in shock, stunned at the sight of bright red blood spurting from my neck and throat. He fumbled with the keys for a second before he had the door open and was standing over my nearly lifeless body. I glanced up at the ceiling, and with every last bit of strength I could muster, I severed the makeshift rope of braided hair and watched as the bone frame came swooping down from its hinge. The side facing my captor was sharp with years of neglected bones lashed together with locks of my own hair, and when he realized what was happening, he opened his mouth to scream, but the sound was muffled and replaced by a blood-covered spike that entered through the back of his head. With the light fading, I looked down to see 4 more spikes protruding from his chest and stomach. It was the last thing I saw before I died, with a thankful smile on my face.
Hello, listener. Barnabas here, and I'd like to take a moment to talk to you about something that's very near and dear to our hearts here at Spookyou. Blood. That succulent scarlet, the crimson cascade of delicious viscera. We can't get enough of it, and we hear you have plenty. That's why we've partnered with Dr. Acula's Blood Bank. Doc Acula is a medically licensed professional specializing in the removal and storage of that sweet life juice that flows through your veins. With your contribution, you'll be able to feed hundreds of starving vampirites with a single donation. And think of the tax write-off. Am I right? Call today for your free consultation and see what you can do to help your community. Don't forget to bring some form of identification, proof of residency. That way we know which community vault to file away your precious cargo, and a notarized copy of your most recent will. Consultation usually takes a few minutes, while your donation will last a lifetime. Oh, Dr. Acula's Blood Bank. Proudly supporting impoverished vampire communities for over 3,000 years. Thank you for allowing us to get that message off our chest and implant it into your prefrontal cortexes. We now return you to your stories.
So, it's been a few weeks since we've moved in, with going back to look after the ducks almost every weekend. This is the seventh time we've moved, yeah. Anyway, the house was old, and you could tell from the outside easily. But when you get in, it's different. I mean, not physically, but no, never mind that. I like it. It's in town, so the library is close by. A few nights ago, I heard something, and I don't really know what it was, but it wasn't the wind. And the next morning, the people next door had put up a paper on the hydro pole. I'm guessing they lost their cat. And then the next night, I hear the same sound, and it's the same lost a pet thing with another person down the street. And now I start to think that maybe just somehow that sound, well, it had something to do with this. So the next evening, I took my dad's trail cam and put it on that huge oak in the backyard, along with one of my little sister's stuffed toys that she didn't like. And like clockwork, the noise. I went to check the trail cam and the stuffed thing is gone. So I took the SD card out and played it on my laptop, and honestly, I'm not really sure what I was expecting. This weird thing, I don't know, I'd say it's an animal, but animals don't have human hands to stand upright knowing there's a camera watching, staring into it. Its face, pale and blank of any facial features except for a large mouth. I'm talking 6 to 10 inches wide. It knew it was a camera. And that's when my laptop showed a corrupt file notification. The SD card had gotten corrupt somehow. Maybe it was the fact that I was using a laptop from the early 2000s. I don't know. So I did some research and found nothing. But I did remember something that I couldn't seem to shake. Skinwalker. So I looked into it and it met my description, just without the I part. Skinwalkers are a shapeshifter-like entity, but this one was different. It knew I was watching it, and it knew that I had recorded it, so it had to do something. It's 3:38 now. The sounds are starting again, but this time is different. I seen it, so now it wants me dead. I guess I should go outside to make sure it doesn't get the rest of my family.
Oh, you're still here. I was certain you had died or fled in absolute terror at the first syllable after my brilliant intro. My apologies. I wasn't really expecting anyone to actually make it this far. Nevertheless, if you enjoyed what you've heard this evening, then make sure you leave a like on this video and strike that subscribe button. Go on, bury it. Give it all you've got. It is how we keep the lights on in this place and feed the feral werecats that have made their home in the former manager's chest cavity. And now, it is with a heavy heart that I regret to inform you that it is time for us to depart. But don't despair. I can already hear your incessant weeping. I'll be here every Tuesday and Thursday to bring you more bone-chilling and soul-shivering stories to whet that insatiable appetite of yours. Now go forth, my ghastly gang, and stay spooky.